Hello everyone and welcome to the Wrath of Ashardalon board game gameplay. It was always my intention to also show you a bit of gameplay of this lovely board game. So let us begin with the setup complete and with the two chosen heroes, the Paladin and the Cleric, about to go on their very first adventure. The game takes place over a number of rounds which are split into phases. The first being the hero phase, followed by the exploration and the villain phase. The hero phase is complete, and during the exploration phase, a new tile is added when a hero is right next to the edge of a tile and a monster is placed. The drawn monster is placed on the scorch mark of each tile. The monster is then placed under control of the active hero. Because the triangle on the drawn tile is white, no encounter cards are drawn. As such, the next step is to activate each monster, and right now only the cultist is active. And he does what it says on his card, which is move to the closest hero and attacks him with a poison dagger. As the attack hits, the paladin takes 1 damage and is poisoned. It is now the cleric's turn. And on his turn, he moves next to the cultist and attacks him with an at-will power called Cleric's Shield, which will grant him an extra 2 armor class. The attack hits, and the cultist takes 1 damage and is defeated. The miniature is removed from the board, and the cleric claims the XP for defeating the cultist, as well as drawing a treasure card for defeating a monster. In this case, a ring of shooting stars, which can be equipped immediately. As the cleric did not place any new tile, an encounter card is drawn. The encounter states that a treasure token must be placed on the map, and that a new encounter card must be drawn as well. The next encounter states that each hero must be attacked with a +8 attack for 1 damage. And with a roll of 12, both characters are hit. And now I move on to the paladin's turn. And as he's poisoned, he takes 1 damage at the start of his turn. And now I move on to the paladin's turn. And as he's poisoned, he takes 1 damage at the start of his turn. As a move action, he moves to the edge of the tile. During the exploration phase, a new tile is added and the monster card drawn. It always happens that during a game, the entire setup will have to be moved around, so plan ahead so that you have plenty of room to move the tiles around. During the villain phase, as a tile with a black arrow has been drawn, an encounter card must also be drawn. And as the card states, I must draw the next 5 monsters and find any sentries that are present in those cards. Fortunately, no sentries were found in those cards. Unfortunately, I also have to place an additional tile as well as a new monster on that tile. the active hero, the paladin will take control of both monsters. And now it's time to activate each of the monsters, starting with the Orc Archer, which shoots at the paladin. Next, the Duergar is not on a tile with any heroes on it, so his ability is to spawn more monsters. And I have drawn a Orc Smasher, which also activates this turn and moves closer to the nearest hero. With the Paladin's turn complete, it is time for the Cleric, and he moves closer to the Paladin and uses his at-will ability, Sacred Flame, to attack the Orc Archer. With a roll of 9 and plus 6, it is enough to deal the 1 damage that will defeat the Orc Archer. Also, the Sacred Flame ability allows the Cleric to heal one of the Paladin's wounds. As the Cleric did not explore any new tiles, we move on to the Villain phase and draw an encounter card. The attacks are made and both characters are missed. Both take 1 damage from the miss. On the Paladin's turn, he moves next to the enemies and attacks the Duergar with his Holy Strike. However, the Paladin only deals 1 damage of the 2 HP of the Duergar. During the Villain phase, as no new tiles are explored, an encounter card is drawn. And this is an environment card which will remain active until the end of the game or until a new card is drawn. Next, the monsters are activated, starting with the Duergar, which attacks the Paladin. The Orc will try to hit as well, but he will miss. On the Cleric's turn, he will move up closer to the action and attack the Duergar with the Sacred Flame. With the Duergar defeated, the Cleric claims another treasure. And as I forgot to draw a treasure for him for the Orc Archer, I will do so now. As the cleric is not near the edge of a tile, the exploration phase is skipped and we move on to the villain phase where the encounter card is drawn. The defeated Duergar is removed, a little late, but better late than never. Moving on to the Paladin's turn, he will attack the Orc Smasher with his Holy Strike. A 17 on the die definitely hits, and as the Paladin has not moved yet, he causes 2 wounds. For defeating an enemy, he draws a treasure card, and the Orc Smasher is removed. The Paladin then uses his move action to move to the edge of the tile to continue the exploration further. On the exploration phase, a new tile is added and a new monster card is drawn. And because the Paladin is wearing an elven cloak, the player to his left will place that drawn monster card, meaning that the cleric will take control of the snake. The cleric will move up to the edge of the other tile and attack the snake with his Sacred Flame. During the cleric's exploration, a new tile is drawn and a new monster card as well. Due to the fact that the cleric is cursed, at the end of his exploration phase he can attempt to get rid of the curse. Should he fail, as he did, the monster will be placed adjacent to him instead of on the usual scorch mark. And during the villain phase, the kobold will attack him and miss. On his turn, the paladin will activate his Divine Challenge ability and will move the kobold right next to him and then attack. With the 14 on the die and 1 damage, the kobold is defeated and the treasure card drawn. Next on his turn, the paladin will move to the edge of a tile. During the exploration phase, a new tile is drawn and a monster placed upon it. As a black triangle tile was drawn, a encounter card must also be drawn as well. And now the paladin is cursed too. The gibbering monster will try to attack the paladin, but will miss. cleric on his turn will move next to the paladin and attack the gibbering mouther with his sacred flame. As no tiles are added, an encounter card is drawn. At the end of the exploration phase, the cleric will try to remove the Wrath of the Enemy curse. Unfortunately, he does not succeed. And as such, the gibbering mouther will move right next to the cleric. The paladin on his turn will try to attack the gibbering mouther using his holy strike, but he will miss. Fortunately, the cleric will use his lucky charm to force a reroll for the paladin. Changing that roll of 4 for a 6 is just enough for the paladin to hit and defeat the gibbering mouther. The paladin will next exchange all the XP he had gained from defeating the monsters in order to gain a level up. Finally, a treasure card is drawn and the gibbering mouther is removed. As no new tiles were placed, the paladin draws an encounter card. On his turn, the cleric will move to the edge of the tile in order to explore further. He will also exchange the XP he has earned from defeating monsters for a level up as well. And he will try to remove one of the curses that is plaguing him as well. Fortunately, this time it was a success. A new tile and a new monster. One more attempt at removing the curse. And the cultists attack with a poison dagger. The paladin moves next to the cultist as well as the edge of the tile. For his attack, the paladin will try to use Holy Strike on the cultist. On the exploration phase, the next tile is placed, and it is the end of the dungeon, and the Dragon Lord Kobold appears. First, an encounter card is drawn because of the black triangle on the tunnel exit. And fortunately for the heroes, nothing too bad happens. The villain activates on each of the hero's turns, and since he is attached to a hero, he will attack him with a short sword and then move one tile away. The cleric activates his daily power of Wrathful Thunder. And with a 3 on the die, that would have been downright terrible. Fortunately for us, there is a chance to reroll. That leaves our villain with a total of 3 wounds. Hooray! Then the cleric will activate all the attacks remaining from all his items. An encounter card is drawn, and it's an earthquake. Oh boy. The paladin is hit and dazed. Fortunately, the attack misses the cleric. On the villain's turn, Mirak will attack the cleric with a short sword, then move one tile away. On his turn, the paladin will firstly remove the dazed effect using his potion. Then he will move next to Mirak and attack him with the Righteous Might. Unfortunately, that is a miss and deals only 1 damage. During the villain phase, an encounter card is drawn. Fortunately, there are no monster cards in play, as villains are not monsters. On his turn, Mirak will attack the paladin with his short sword and move one tile away. The cleric will try to move close to Mirak and target him and attack him with Sacred Flame. To no avail. One more encounter card, and this time our heroes are plagued by a thief in the dark. And the cleric discards one of his items. The cleric attempts to remove his curse but is unsuccessful, and Mirak is forced to move right next to the cleric. The paladin hits Mirak with his holy strike, defeating him, and then proceeds to move towards the exit of the dungeon, completing and finishing the game. I really hope you have enjoyed this short gameplay session. Initially I planned to film an entire game of 5 people. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your point of view, I realized I have little to zero experience filming a live game. So I decided to try and film just myself playing a few games. And this is actually the third game that I filmed. The other ones were simply unusable. Again, I apologize for the shakiness of the cam, for the lack of focus. I tried my best. It's not exactly easy, especially while using just a handheld camera. That being said, I really hope you enjoyed this, and I promise I'll do a better job with future gameplay videos if I ever make one. Thank you all for watching, and please subscribe and share it with anyone you think might enjoy it. See you in the next gameplay session.